Corvette off the grid there before they came around. So well done to all the volunteers once again.
Yes, they're pretty special, aren't they, those guys? They do a great job. All right, little mini there, young Stephen Rook. He's got the Ray Malloy car, the famous mini, that one. Ray Malloy was a very keen competitor in amongst all the sports sedans of the day, and even in our mini super racing. But and a great competitor in mini cars before he got into minis too. So he used to race the Monza and all sorts of different cars he's raced over the years. Only about, what have we got, 7 cars in the event, and away they go.
Graham Gilliland in the Series 4 Mazda RX-7 13B fuel-injected sports sedan leads the field. So these are sprint laps, so they're not actually racing for position, just to set the fastest time. Damien Johnson, the ex-Doug Clark Celica, powered by the 202 Holden engine, triple Webbers on it. So the Toyota engine was given the flick, with the Holden engine replacing it under the bonnet in that 82 model RA40 Celica. Bit of a sister car, I guess, to the John Burke, famous John Burke Celica sports sedan, which was turbo powered. This one is Holden powered with the triple Webbers on the side.
Oh, most unusual. Haven't seen one like that before, but anyway, look at the little mini stuck up there behind him, running in third place, I think he is. So if he can keep it all on the track, the little mini should do well. He can come up on the inside here, doesn't quite get through. But Sully coming by at the back there with the big XU1. And Stephen Root gets around on the outside, doesn't decide to go through that spot there. He could have made a passing move, I would have thought.
Really are tippy-toeing these cars running on slicks, saying that's why the entry's probably down a little bit for this last race, because pretty treacherous conditions when you're running on a slick tyre in the wet. And with a lot of these cars being fairly old, perhaps the tyres are probably not the newest either, with some of them being pulled out of the shed.
That's really what happened. I mean, we often used to have sets of wet weather tyres and very rarely got used. And then suddenly you get a wet day. Oh gosh, we better get the wet weathers out. You find they're perished on the sides and all sorts of things. But I think some of these guys have probably got wet weathers, but they're out there anyway having a go. That's the main thing. On
screen, the V8 powered EH of Ernie Corrie, a car originally raced by Ron Krause in Bathurst in 1964.
Wow.
Running with the original 179 engine, of course, now V8 powered and built into a sports sedan in latter years.
He's had enough, I think. He's pulling off to the side there.
He's moving around in the cabin there, so maybe gearbox problems for Corrie in the EH. Chris Carter on screen, the ex-Mick Monterosso Ford Anglia with the 1600 Ford under the bonnet. Pre-crossflow, so the engine that started out in the Mark I Cortina. So exhaust and intake on the same side. Mick Monterosso, what a star he was in sports sedans, running that very quick little BDA-powered Ford Escort. Started out in this very car you see here, the number 37 Ford Anglia, driven by Chris Carter.
He's a very quick competitor in his day. As we watched the little Anglia going back there, or angle box, we used to call them.
Angle bum. Yes. Ford Uglia is another description I've heard of the Anglias. I think they're quite novel-looking car.
I always remember the local police stations had them as the station car, powder blue and maybe some.
It wouldn't be a pursuit car, would it?
No, absolutely not.
They'd be picking up the donuts or the McDonald's, I would think, if they were open in those days. Wouldn't chase many things down in an Anglia, 998 cc's.
But anyway.
And we're just giving him the kiss of death. Chris Carter's gone off onto the sand. Hopefully he gets back out in the Anglia. Yes, he has. There he is on the back straight.
Like everything else, of course, little Anglias are quite collectible day.
Well,
if you got one around the place.
Stupid Harry Potter movies have pushed the prices up probably.
Of course they have, yes.
Light blue Anglia starring in some of them. I haven't seen 5 seconds of a Harry Potter movie, but I've seen the posters.
I've seen the promos, and he's certainly there in his little Anglia. Now, Rook has made up a bit of ground on the Clark car. You can hear the Clark car acceleration down the straight, really gets going. But little mini, of course, going around pretty constant sort of speeds, which is good.
Quite unusual, the Mini, that's probably not, you're a Mini expert, Ron, but larger wheels on the front compared to the back.
Yeah, one stage we actually ran 13-inch wheels on the front. You could get big brakes on the front. Some of them used to run actually 45,000 brakes on the front. So yeah, if you had the bigger wheels, you could do that.
Front-wheel drive, of course, for our younger viewers not aware of the Mini.
I basically always ran 10-inch wheels, but I had nice soft rubber tyres for for the wet weather and that sort of thing. So used to go all right in the Minis, but that was a long time ago. But anyway, it's still out there. Good to see it going round. Ray Malloy's still going, I believe. He's takes a bit of interest in this car getting around. And Stephen's got quite a good following on Facebook. Always keeps up to date with what's going on, and he went through the build of the car and getting it all ready. Have a look at this. He's really got into the grips with it. I've never seen him actually really racing because he's not out there all the time having a go, but he's certainly giving the Celica a bit of a hurry up. Once you get to the a bit of a line and the feel of a car in the wet weather, you can actually go quite quick. He's not letting him get away too much this time.
Your front-wheel drive really coming to its own in the wet. With the
what it does, yeah. If
pulling you around the corner.
You've really got to drive on the throttle. It's the only way to get them around pretty quick.
Yeah.
You turn in quite early, actually, and sort of accelerate to the apex of the corner, and it pulls you around pretty smartly. So,
Graham Gilliland in the RX-7, fastest man so far at 156.8. Lap time's a bit, not really relevant, I guess, in these horribly wet conditions. But Graham will be happy to be out there in that RX-7 that he started campaigning way back in 2005. Graham Gilliland had a huge accident at the Thunderdome many, many moons ago. I think before he was running this car in an Oz car. Car did about a 8 or 9 pirouette in the air, but thankfully Graham was okay.
Lovely colour scheme on this one. It's very smart, bright.
Certainly made a good sport sedan, the Series 4 RX-7. Slightly wider, longer wheelbase compared to the Series 1. There's quite a few of the RX-4s, the Series 4 version, running around. Came under a bit of criticism to start with in road car form as being a fairly close copy of a Porsche 928.
Exactly right, yeah.
But, of course, not looking like much one now with those big guards and that magnificent rear wing on the tail of the car.
Actually interesting that the original road cars of this particular one, you could buy a turbo or a non-turbo, and the non-turbo one was a bit of a slouch. It wasn't very quick at all. The earlier RX-7s could beat them quite easily, just even a road car. So
yeah, fair bit heavier than the series,
yeah, they
early series.
Put a whole lot of jazz on them to make them a bit heavier and so on. And then the turbo came along and that made them a little bit better, of course. But like everything else, getting to be quite a collectible car these days.
Great interest now among Japanese car fans with the JDM market cars. Of course, Japanese domestic market cars being very popular these days, bringing in those grey imports that were already here, so quite a big scene in car customisation. Yeah. Damien Johnson at the wheel of Doug Clark Celica, still in front of Rook. Talked about Damien before, long-time campaigner in State Series Sports Sedans, the odd run the National Series in his unique Tirana with a Falcon head grafted onto it, a Falcon alloy head on the top of the Holden 202 engine. Now running that ex-Doug Clark Celica with a Holden engine. Don't think Toyota will be bringing back the Celica. They brought back the Supra, but of course that was a collaboration with BMW based on the Z4 framework, putting the Toyota body on it. But I don't think the Celica will be coming back anytime soon, unfortunately. Was known as a bit of a hairdresser's car, the Celica, if you can be sexist, but certainly not in sports sedan form or touring car form. Graham Gilliland heading towards the checkered flag.
They used to tell me about my MX-5 being a hairdresser's car.
And then you'd race away at the drop of the green light there, Ronnie, and say,
Yes.
oh, is it really? There's always someone's got a comment about somebody else's car. We know the story.
Well, look at this. Rook's really giving Clark a bit of a hurry up there. He's in third place. He'll be absolutely rapt about that.
Graham Gilliland takes the checkered flag to end the sprints for the Group U Historic Sport Sedans. His fastest time of 156.8. Damien Johnson was next fastest at 158.7, and Stephen Rook, the mini-man, was third fastest with a 158.9. Don't forget, folks, the VHRR Historic Sandown event, November 4, 5 and 6. Ron, always a great meeting.
Oh, fantastic meeting, and we're looking forward to that coming along. I'm on the committee for that particular event, and we've got some good things coming along for that event, so we're looking forward to fine weather on that day. In fact, being in November, it's usually a little bit nicer. But as we watch the last of the cars sort of coming around, the Gippsland Car Club entry, Ashby's electrical car, I think this is Corey driving that particular one. He came in with two Corys out there.
Yeah, Ernie Corey in the VH, the EH Holden, unfortunately retired a bit early.
He did, yeah, passed all up on the straight for some reason, but anyway.
Thank you very much to all the guys from Blendline TV. Fantastic pictures. Got rained on halfway through the proceedings today. All done a great job. We hope you've enjoyed the telecast on Blendline TV. And Ronnie, I will see you at Historic Sandown, November 4th, 5 and 6.
Thanks very much, Darren, for your input for the weekend. Always good to have you up here on talking all things touring cars mostly, but you excelled yourselves on all sorts of other events today because we were a little bit short of our normal commentary crew due to, as you say, illness and things that are happening around the place. So thanks for coming on board, and the Shannons and Penrite, all the other sponsors that we had on board. I think Cool Drive are in there as well.
Spagnolo and Co-Accountants at
yes.
Ascot Vale, Victoria, and also the Museum of Vehicle Evolution up at Shepparton, the Move Museum.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for your support.
We've always had a few cars. They're all special. The T-Bird.
Oh, that's mine.
The Combi for when we want to get away. The XR8.
It's going to be a classic.
They're all insured with Shannons,
We've also got Shannon's Home and Contents cover.
which helps protect our automotive collectibles, tools and memorabilia in the home and garage. If you're motoring enthusiasts like us, it's got to be.
Shannon's.
Shannon's, insurance for motoring enthusiasts. Call 13 46 46 for a quote.
We all agree now is the right time to start making choices to support Aussie businesses, supporting Aussie families and communities. Well, from their humble beginnings in Melbourne nearly 100 years ago, Penrite now sit as a truly respected global lubricants brand across automotive and industry. And the best bit, it's still 100% owned by an Aussie family that employs Australians in Australian factories right here on Aussie ground.
Nice car, those Capris.